Okay guys, in this video we'll be going over the Ultimate Rare cards from Ultra Go Mission 7. So this will be coming out on March 9th, so not too far away now, which is pretty cool. On the left side you've got some characters from the promo anime, such as Broly and Gogeta Zeno, both in their Limit Breaker forms, as well as Blue Goku. And this mission's theme is all about Broly. So on the right you can see we've got Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, and also Goku and Gohan from movie 8, okay? So as for the ORs, there's 8, which is pretty standard these days. And the first one is Super Saiyan Goku from movie 8, fighting Broly, of course. And it's pretty cool how it has the other Z fighters in the background there. Yeah, pretty cool card art. So he's a Berserker. His super attack is Legend Smash for 7 energy, so kind of high. He's got a unit with Vegeta and Krillin. Now, Krillin's quite surprising. You know, I thought it would be like Piccolo or Gohan, but yeah, whatever. And that kind of makes it immediately like not as good because there aren't that many good Krillin cards, you know, compared to like Piccolo or Gohan, right? So yeah, it's only 2 energy though, which isn't too bad. It's pretty cheap. And the effect is that first of all, actually lowers all of your guys' power by 5,000, which is like a negative. But in return, they all get 20,000 guard, and both of those stat changes are only for that round, so they're not permanent. So I mean, it is cheap, but again, having Krillin as a member is a bit of a it kind of kills it, right? So yeah. And then for the Kamehameha, which is his card action ability, the extra effect is that it basically gives your team a free like revival, right? So if you get KO'd, you automatically revive, which is pretty good. The only bad thing is, and I've said this in other videos, is how there's a lot of cards in the meta that can kind of like stop those revivals from occurring. So that's kind of bad. Like especially Ios is the big one, the original Ios card. I mean, you can definitely bring other cards like to kind of stop, you know, for example, Ios's ability from activating. But yeah, I think it's one where you can't really like rely on it too much unless you have like a dedicated team. So yeah, it's still good though. But again, I think it's hard to use like reliably, you know. And then as for his main ability, so during the power level battle each round, if this Goku's power is lower than what it was at the start of the battle, his power will be restored to its starting amount, and his damage will also double, which is pretty good. And also, when he attacks each round, if the enemy that he's attacking has a higher power than he does, his damage will double again. So potentially, it can double twice, so that's 4 times damage in one round, which is pretty good. Definitely not like an amazing card, but I think he has potential for sure. So yeah. And this guy also has a dramatic art card. So dramatic arts were introduced in Ultra Competition 5, and they basically are just a rarer version of the card with different art. So ability and everything is the same. You can see it's got different art than the standard one. Although personally, I quite like the standard one actually more because it has other Z fighters there. But yeah, they're both pretty cool.
Okay, so next up we have Super Saiyan 1, Teenage Gohan from movie 10. So pretty cool card art, and he did get an HD model, which is really nice. I've been waiting for a while for him to get one. So he's an elite type. He's got Super Kamehameha as his super attack for 4 energy, which is nice and cheap. He's also got a unit with Goku and Goten. Again, Goten isn't the best member, but oh well. And 6 energy is, you know, kind of high, but it is a unit S, so that's pretty good because you don't actually consume the energy. You just have to have it to activate this unit, and it's pretty strong. So basically, the unit leader, which is Gohan, of course, in this case, his super attack will become available for that round, and he'll also do 20 times damage with his Super Kamehameha during that round, which is pretty insane. 20 times, that's a lot of damage, man. Like, if you can land that, that's kind of, that's honestly game winning in most cases. That's pretty insane, you know. That's kind of bonkers. And then he has a combined Kamehameha, so him and one partner. And the extra effect is that for every hero energy you have, Gohan and the partner's power will be increased by 5,000. So of course, if you have 10 hero energy, then both of their power will be increased by 50,000, which is, you know, definitely not bad. And then for his main ability, when he attacks each round, your team's damage reduction will be increased by 10% for every supporter you have. So if you put this Gohan into attack and you have 5 supporters, then your damage reduction will be increased by 50%. So basically taking half more damage, which is definitely pretty good. And then also, if you have less hero energy than the number of supporters during that round, then your hero energy won't be able to be lowered by the enemy, which is not bad. So, for example, if you have like 4 hero energy but like 5 supporters, then it can't be lowered by the enemy, which is good. But because it requires you to have like a lower number of hero energy than number of supporters, as you're probably gonna have a low amount of hero energy anyway, so it's not like amazing. I think. For me, the best thing is definitely that unit. That's insane with the 20 times damage from his Super Kamehameha. So yeah, not amazing, but definitely and definitely an interesting card for sure. Just because of that unit.
Okay, for card number 3 we have Vegeta, and this is pretty surprising because it has nothing to do with Broly or like the promo anime. So this is of course Majin Vegeta. In Japanese, he's known as Prince of Destruction Vegeta. So yeah, pretty cool. He's a hero type. We've got a new super attack. This is the final Spear Blast for 6 energy, so not too high, I guess, cost wise. And his unit, we've got Piccolo and Kid Trunks as members. So similar to the Gohan card, Trunks isn't the best member in Kid Trunks, but it is a pretty cheap, only 1 energy, and the effect is not too bad. So Vegeta's power level will increase by 10,000, and all the enemies' guard will be reduced by 1,000, only for that round. And the only bad thing is that you can't get any hero energy from the power level, but that's still pretty good for 1 energy. That's really cheap. And then for his main ability, which is a one-time use ability, so when he attacks by himself, his super attack will become available automatically, and all your allies' power will be added onto Vegeta for that round, so he gets more power. And also, which is the best part, whenever he takes an enemy attack, he won't take more than 2,000 damage for each attack, which is pretty good. So he's pretty defensive. The only bad thing with this ability is that he's not immune to stun. So if he is stunned and then attacked while he's stunned, the damage blocker won't kick in. So you have to really have some guys to help him, stay unstunned, I guess. Otherwise this can be pretty dangerous. So, yeah. Then he's also got a ultimate lock-on burst for his card action ability, and this goes pretty well with his ability because, of course, with his ability, his super attack becomes available automatically, and it means you can use this automatically, right? So with this lock on, the extra effects are that he ignores the enemy's guard and damage reduction, which is pretty good. And also he'll do 3 times damage with his super attack. So that's pretty good, right? Definitely strong. I mean, he can't attack multiple times like some other cards, but with one attack he can do a lot of damage for sure. So yeah, definitely not a bad card. But I don't think he's like anything super good. Okay, so next up we're finally getting into the promo anime cards. So first of all we have Gogeta Zeno in his Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker form. So yeah, again, card out's pretty cool with Broly there. He's a Berserker. He also has a new super attack. This is the Stardust Rising, and I believe this is the super attack the attack that was featured in the latest episode of the promo anime, which is kind of like a reverse Stardust Fall, hence the name, right? Yeah, like a yellow version, I guess, going upwards. It's pretty cool. The 8 energy is quite high, which sucks, but oh well. So a unit with Spring Card Time and Trunks Zeno, which are both fantastic cards. They both have many good cards, these 2 characters, which is good. For only 2 energy, which is pretty cheap. And the effect is pretty good. All 3 of these members will become immune to stun for the rest of the battle, which is definitely not bad for sure. Also got a touch action ability. This is the Gun Impact. So basically, Gogeta, Zeno, and 4 other allies will do like a group attack. So the 5 of them together, and then the extra effect is that all 5 of those guys will recover some ki, and also their power levels will be increased by 50%, which is definitely good because with 5 guys, that's a lot, of potential power level on the next turn. So it's definitely pretty good. And for his main ability, there's actually 2 requirements. The first one is kind of not too bad because it's only really relevant for computer battles. Basically, the enemy team has to have at least 5 guys, but of course for online battles, that's a non-factor, right? They're always going to have 7, so yeah. The main one you have to worry about is he has to have at least one bar of ki to activate it, so at least 25% ki. But if he does have that, then at the start of each round, he'll randomly target 1 enemy battle type, so either heroes, berserkers, or elites, and one of those battle types of the enemy, all cards of that type will have their power and fixed damage halved, which is pretty good. So, for example, if the enemy has 4 hero types, 2 elite types, and one berserker, he could of course target the 1 berserker, and that would be kind of unlucky. But he could target the 4 hero types, and that would be pretty good. That's over half his team, So definitely, because it's random, it's kind of luck based, more than usual, I guess. But definitely still a decent ability. Although compared to Last Bastion's secret card, Like, there's no comparison. That last mission's cut was so good that yeah, but this cut's still pretty good, I think. Not bad for sure. Okay, so next up we have the Future Warrior in Black, still in Super Saiyan. I was hoping he'll get Super Saiyan 3, but not yet, it seems. So cutouts are amazing. With God Trunks, that's a really cool combo, you know. So he's an elite type. He's got a new attack. This is the Extreme Masenko, I do believe it's called. And for 5 energy, that's pretty cheap, you know, not bad. And he's got a summon, so you can summon Trunks on the second turn and do the attack. And if you have at least 8 hero energy, then the damage is increased, and you also steal 5 of the enemy's hero energy. That's pretty good, definitely a nice effect there. And if his main ability, so every turn when he attacks, again, there's 2 requirements. The first one is, again, a non-requirement, really. The enemy team has to have at least 3 enemies, but again, in online battles, it doesn't matter. The main one is all your ally attackers have to have their super attack available to activate this ability. So that's pretty difficult. You know, that's definitely not an easy requirement, I think. But if you do have that requirement fulfilled, then your team's power level will increase by 30,000 for that round. Although you won't get any hero energy from that power level boost. So honestly, out of all the 8 cards, I think this one's probably the weakest. You know, like 30,000 is decent, but that's all it does, right? That's like the only effect you get, and not even any hero energy from it, which kind of sucks. You know, there's way easier ways to get that amount of power level, like more easily. So yeah, I mean, he's really cool, but I think he's probably the weakest one, unfortunately. Okay, next we have Broly, and I do believe this is Broly in his Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker form. Not the new form of Broly that we saw in the anime. I think there's going to be a secret card. But yeah, I mean, he does have the glowing eyes, so I kind of thought it was that form at first, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The cutout's amazing either way. So he's a Berserker. He's got the gigantic cluster as his super attack for 3 energy, which is super cheap. Especially considering he has an awoken burst as his card action, which is amazing. I mean, that's so cheap. Easy access to this awoken burst, which is nice. And the extra effect for his awoken burst is that he increases the enemy's CI speed and also does massive key damage. That's pretty strong. 3 energy, that's such a good combination, you know. And then for his main ability, at the end of every round, if the enemy team has 0 hero energy, then he'll lower all the enemy's key to 0, and that's including enemy supporters. That's insane. Like, I would say he's probably the top 2 strongest cards of these 8, right? He's so good. The only bad thing is that if there is a Gogeta Zeno in the enemy team, then every turn there's a small chance that the ability won't actually activate. So that's a bit of a weakness, but even then, that's still really strong, right? That's strong ending, and the ability with a working burst with only 3 energy cost for the super is really strong. So definitely a really good card. Okay, so second to last we have Dark King Demiurge. So the second UR of this guy, we actually have one of him this mission. So yeah, he's a hero type. Super deck is the same one as the current mission, and then he has a unit with a Majin Noberu and Majin Putin for 4 energy, which is not too expensive. And both Majin Noberu and Majin Putin have some really good cards, so they're both solid members. And the effect is pretty good too. All enemies with 3,000 or more power have it reduced to 1, and also all enemies with 3,000 or more guard have it reduced to 1 too. So basically, honestly, even just semi-decent stats, like he can reduce all the enemy's stats to 1. That's pretty strong, right? Only for that round, but that's a really good effect, you know. Then he has a new card action. This is the Dark Reflect. So kind of similar to like Freeze or Counter Rush, where it like stops enemies' attack and also does damage back to them. It's pretty strong. And his extra effect is that the enemy will take double damage from then on, and they'll also lose 2 hero energy. So definitely pretty good. With his main ability, at the start of each round, the 3 enemies with the most ki will have it reduced by 2 bars. And if you put this guy into support, then also your 3 allies with the least power will have their power doubled, and they also gain 2 bars of ki. So definitely not bad. Although compared to the current Demiurge, there's like no comparison. The current one is so insanely strong. So I don't see him being used that much, just because there's another way better Demiurge, but he's definitely not bad. Yeah. Okay, so last but definitely not least, we have Goku BR. And as you can see, this is the first appearance of Super Saiyan God Goku BR in the game, which is really cool. Finally got him. And you can see both Gold Goku and Blue Goku BR got HD models, which is really cool. So he's an elite type. And unfortunately, the super attack for his God form, I guess, is the same as it's always been, the Limit Breaker Kamehameha, which sucks. But he does have a new attack in the blue form at least, which is good. And 6 energy is, again, not too bad cost-wise, middle of the road. So for his main ability, it's pretty strong. When he attacks each round, at the end of the power level battle, if you have at least one hero energy on your team, then in return for half of your hero energy being destroyed, this Goku will recover some ki, and he also take 5,000 power from every enemy attacker, which is pretty strong. And the more energy you destroy, the more power he'll take, which is really, really strong. So not only is he making the enemy weaker, but he's making himself do more damage too, which is really strong. And then he can transform into Super Saiyan Blue on the second turn, and his power and guard will be doubled, and he'll also get 3 hero energy. So both of those effects go quite well with his main ability, right? Getting more energy to destroy, and after getting that power, he'll have his power doubled, so even more power. So that's really strong. So I think this guy and the Broly I picked are the two strongest ones out of these 8, and he might even be the strongest one. But that's really, really good. And also just design wise and everything, this is easily my number 1 pick for my most wanted UI out of these 8. He's amazing, So yeah, definitely hyped for the next mission. So yeah, that was it for these 8 URs. Yeah, let me know in the comments which one you are hyped for the most, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.